the shadows we reside, cracking codes to flip the tide. Zeros and ones our battle cry. System fall, we watch them die. Hack-Attack, no turning back. Red meets blue in the cyber attack. Firewall burns, the signals cracked. Hack-Attack, yeah.
I still remember that morning, October 6, 2025. If you've been around long enough, you know what I mean by false calm. There was this chill in the war room, monitors calmly scrolling logs, occasional complaints from folks about, ugh, YouTube is lagging again, or Discord voice is glitchy, absolutely classic. It looked mundane, just another blip on the digital radar. Look, too many times outages start just like that. The initial signs didn't scream cyber war. Honestly, on the surface, it came off as your regular packet loss. Maybe a misbehaving router somewhere in Peoria, that sort of thing. The irony is, those sluggish connections were actually the edges of a DDoS tsunami gearing up. The trouble with these new era attacks, they masquerade as everyday annoyances. You don't see the volcano when it's still rumbling under the surface. That's what Aisuru was, right before the sky fell for US ISPs. But back then, even I didn't clock how nuts it was about to get. Looking at it now, I get why most folks, including some seasoned network defenders, totally misunderstood those early outages. If you've never seen a hyper-volumetric botnet waking up, it's supposed to be boring until it's really, really not. So how does a botnet go from just big to holy cow, everybody's in trouble overnight? Easy. Compromise the dang supply chain. April 2025. TotalLink gets hit right where it hurts, on their firmware update servers. The magic ingredient? A little shell script called t.sh, tucked into the firmware update process. Now, this isn't your run-of-the-mill script kiddie move. This thing was distributed to tens of thousands of consumer routers sitting quietly in living rooms, offices, and even the odd coffee shop. Next thing you know, each device pings home, and home says, "Congrats, you're in the Aisuru botnet now." Here's what makes that different from botnets past. Previous IoT botnets, Mirai, think back to 2016, mostly brute-forced passwords or hit up weak telnet. This supply chain compromise bypassed user behavior entirely. You bought, you updated, you lost. Nice, right? And that's how Aisuru ballooned from an annoying rumor to a full-scale IoT pandemic in weeks. The scale? Man, it was breathtaking and terrifying all at once. It gets wilder. Let's talk numbers, because the logs don't lie. By May 2025, Google Project Shield is out there celebrating their new record, 6.35 terabits per second, all aimed at Krebs on security. Not long after, Cloudflare's logs are like, hold my beer, and they're mitigating 11.5 terabits per second, then 22.2 terabits per second September. And here's where the panic sets in. Attackers are making these industrial-scale floods look casual. October rolls in and Aisuru flexes with, no kidding, nearly 29.7 terabits pes. Now, the number floats around online, unconfirmed by the big scrubbing vendors, but telemetry and logs keep telling the same story. These aren't your granddad's DDoS attacks. These are turn off the lights in half the country kind of events, even if they only last a minute. Let's not forget Cloudflare's 11.5 terabit per second incident in September, a masterclass in defense, and a signal for everyone else. Buy more bandwidth because you'll need it. It completely changed the defense playbook overnight. So, what makes Aisuru so different, technically? First, there's the flavor. Almost all UDP floods, stuffing pipes with giant walls of seemingly random traffic, laced with occasional TCP SYN floods and GRE packets just for spice. But wait, the secret sauce is in the tactics. Randomizing TCP flags, segmenting attacks so you can't catch everything with a single filter, and even network layer mimicry to make DDoS floods look kinda like regular HTTP traffic. Like, you almost want to give them props for creativity. Almost. And let's talk about these bursts. Attacks rarely last more than a minute. We're talking 35 to 65-second slams over and over. Why is that deadly? Any manual intervention you want to do, even if you're lightning quick, it's already too late. These short, sharp shocks force defenders to rely on always-on automated systems. No time to hit the panic button or start crafting rules by hand. The botnet knows if its window is short, defenders are always a step behind. Now, let's go on a world tour. Aisuru seizes routers far and wide. Totolink, D-Link, Zyxel, Cambium, Linksys. The vast majority of these are humble home or small office boxes, right? But what's new here is dual purpose. Some endpoints are pure DDoS weapons, but others, especially high bandwidth, low latency ones, get roped into a residential proxy network. That means they're also ferrying traffic for credential stuffing, web scraping, all that jazz. Criminal monetization galore. ISPs get wise. Their telemetry reveals which devices are slinging gigs and gigs of suspicious outbound traffic. Case in point, certain cloud endpoints hijack Soho routers. They're not just amplifying, they're launching the attacks. Cable techs and security admins suddenly see spikes where none existed before. Cue the panic, cue the late-night incident response. So, collateral damage, this is where it gets messy. US ISPs got battered on both sides. Inbound monster floods hitting their edges and outbound chaos bubbling up as compromised devices inside customer homes start launching traffic bombs. The thing most ISPs never planned for, a DDoS attack that comes from their own users aimed right back out at the world. Outbound DDoS traffic? Total nightmare. Suddenly the pipes are lined with infected and clean traffic, all choked by the same flood. I still remember one admin, Comcast, East Coast, frantically juggling shift logs, red-eyed at 3 a.m. The region was buckling, upstream providers calling to threaten black holes or worse. Every solution either tanked legitimate users or left the door open for more chaos. It was pandemonium. And for gaming networks, it was multi-hour, multi-day outages. The kind you feel in the fiber. As you'd expect, once the carnage starts, the big guys, Google Project Shield, Cloudflare, AWS, Akamai, roll out the planetary scale mitigation. Global Anycast scrubbing, BGP flow spec, outbound filtering, the works. Everyone starts treating sub-minute, terabit level floods as the new normal. But here's the debate. Can you live in a world of always-on mitigation? Is that just a necessary evil now? Because the fights are too fast for humans. AI-driven countermeasures and automation are the only way to keep up. But they mean ceding a lot of control to the machines, right? Some folks worry that creates new surface area for mistakes or unexpected collateral. I go back and forth. On one hand, you need always on. On the other, it changes the rules of engagement. I might be wrong, but I don't see that genie going back in the bottle. Now, Aisuru isn't just cold code. It's crafted by people with attitude. Meet the dream team. Snow, the coding mind behind the binaries. Tom, a wizard with exploits and responsible for brutal supply chain moves. And Forky, the business brain, handling DDoS for hire and residential proxy sales. These folks aren't shy. Taunts in binaries, Telegram trash talk, hilarious and sometimes questionable domain names. Aisuru wants to be seen, wants to be feared, not just get rich. The style actually reminds me of old school Mirai and the whole rapper bot rivalry. Not quite nation state, but bold, entrepreneurial, and out to build a legend. They're the kind of adversaries who crash your gaming server, then drop a meme about it in the binary for good measure. Here's why defenders keep losing sleep. Aisuru doesn't stand still. Technical leaps like RC4 encrypted command and control, GRE tunnels for traffic management, encrypted DNS command relays, intense anti-analysis measures. It's adapt or die, constantly. Intelligent node profiling means high-bandwidth endpoints are cherry-picked for attacks or proxy gigs. And malware mutation isn't a headline, it's business as usual. The security crowd hits back with automation and threat intelligence sharing, but every time they level up, Aisuru mutates. It's an infinite game. Will we ever win? Don't bet your last Bitcoin on it. Still, every round teaches us something new. Fast forward to right now, October 2025. Aisuru's botnet is still rolling. somewhere north of 300,000 nodes, dodging takedowns and patch waves. Law enforcement's on their tail. Big mitigation vendors bring the pain, yet the operators adapt, switch IOCs, migrate infrastructure. Each new defense move gets met with another offensive twist. The true takeaways for defenders, ISPs, vendors, and everyone in between: automate like your uptime depends on it, because it does. Collaborate, share those threat indicators, use real-time networks like ThreatFox. And never treat your IoT hardware as set and forget. If nothing else, Aisuru showed us botnets are blueprints, not one-offs. Every new campaign iterates on what worked last time. It's a war room out there, always. And you know what? We'll be back soon to break down where this story goes next. The battle's nowhere close to over. Stay alert, folks.
The whispers, a data stream, codes the canvas, paint the scheme. We're the ghosts inside the machine. Nothing's safe, not even your dream.